We begin tonight with late-breaking news on the search for 3-year-old Lena Keel. Just about an hour ago, we learned that an FBI dive team is searching an area on San Antonio's northwest side.
Now, we want to give you a live look from Sky 12 right there, flying above that location at Hubner and Babcock Roads. It's about 2 miles from where that little girl was last seen at the Villas del Cabo apartments on Fredericksburg Road. She was reported missing on December 20th.
Our Alicia Barrera out there live tonight where that search is happening. So, Alicia, the police chief gave an update late this afternoon. What do we know about this new development?
They're close to wrapping up, but we know that the plan for that dive team is to search those deep pockets along the creek. But today, again, the focus was on more so of that wooded area. Now, the chief started this press conference saying that he wished he had more uplifting news to share today about Lena, but unfortunately, that's not the case. According to SAPD, the dive team is made up of 12 members, and they flew in all the way from Washington. The heavy presence of authorities along this creek is just a sign that the search for 3-year-old Lena Keel is active. The team is searching, again, that wooded area. They're getting ready to wrap up today and are expected to continue with their efforts tomorrow morning. That's when they're expected to go into the creek where SAPD says there's some deep pockets of water.
We'll go as far as we need to go to satisfy the lead that we're looking at.
The chief didn't disclose any specifics about the leads they're investigating, only stating that they're leaving nothing to chance. We did take a look at the map. There's not an exact measurement right now, but just looking at the map itself, it's about a 1/4 mile. We're talking about that creek that that dive team will look at. And we asked him why this dive team, and he says that the team has the right equipment, the right technology needed in order to hopefully find some sign of Lena. Again, as of right now, that's not the case. The search continues. It'll pick back up tomorrow morning. Ursula, Stefania, back to you.
All right, Alicia, thank you. So here's a question for you now. What's in a name? Turns out a lot if you ask the candidates who want to be your next district court judge. Last month, a lawsuit was filed claiming that Lisa Uresti Dasher didn't use her legal name when she applied for the job. Now, the suit claims that she's trying to gain favor with the community by pointing out her connection to a powerful political family. So now the question is whether she can actually stay in the March primary. And as Dylan Collier reports, there's a hearing underway right now to determine that.
Today's hearing was supposed to be hybrid, but was moved online after several judges recused themselves. At issue, whether local attorney Lisa Uresti Dasher used her legal name when applying to run as a Democrat for judge of the 285th District Court. Uresti Dasher is the daughter of longtime Bexar County tax assessor collector Albert Uresti and the niece of disgraced state senator Carlos Uresti, who is currently serving a 12-year federal prison sentence for fraud and money laundering. A lawsuit filed against the candidate and the Bexar County Democratic Party last month also accuses Uresti Dasher of not being honest about how long she's lived in Bexar County. Her application states 35 years, while an application for a judicial appointment filed by her last year stated it had only been 3 years. Uresti Dasher's primary opponent, Nadine Nieto, said the discrepancies should concern voters.
It's important to our community to have honest, trustworthy judges.
Another surge in COVID presenting logistical nightmares to holding court right now. Adding to that, in this case, time is of the essence. Early voting is now less than 6 weeks away.
I heard somebody say Rebecca.
Okay.
Was that you? Was that you?
No, Your Honor. No, Your Honor.
The hours-long hearing rife with interruptions and audio issues. Attorneys for Uresti Dasher argued the suit was filed too late to allow for a full trial before the election takes place. But after the judge ordered it to proceed,
it's not a nickname. They're her real names and a confusing form.
Attorneys for Uresti Dasher acknowledged parts of her application were inaccurate, strongly pushing back on the characterization that they were false. Dylan Collier, KSAT 12 News.
So this hearing that Dylan is telling us about stretched more than 4 hours before the judge eventually called it quits for the day. It resumes tomorrow morning at 10. Visiting Judge John Gabriel has not said if he's going to rule on whether he's going to remove Uresti Dasher when the hearing ends or if he's going to do that at a later time. The deadline, by the way, to print ballots for the March primary is January 16th. So that decision we should find out relatively soon.
Exactly a year ago today, truckloads of freezer-packed vials arrived at the Wonderland Mall to administer the first batches of the COVID-19 vaccine.
And we know that since then, more than 500,000 doses have been given out.
But we also know the work is not done yet. So with what lies ahead for the Wonderland vaccine site, here again is Alicia Varela.
A year ago, University Health transformed an empty suite inside Wonderland of the Americas into a vaccine hub of hope.
My birthday's coming up and I want to be able to party like it's 1999.
We have to have it.
51-year-old Jimmy Jackson says the vaccine is about longevity, to see his son, 5-year-old Kaylor Jackson, grow up.
I've got to do everything to make sure that I'm around long enough for him.
How old are you?
51.
At their peak, University Health expanded to 2 sites at Wonderland of the Americas and report vaccinating 8,000 people a day. In total, an estimated 538,000 doses of the COVID-19 vaccine for adults and children have been administered here in the past year. But January 4th, 2021 looked much different.
Opening day to limited amount of vaccines that were allotted to our organization, and yet we had thousands upon thousands of people lined up asking for vaccines.
And now the push to get people vaccinated continues in order to help minimize the impact of the virus.
The vaccines hopefully prevent the severe illness and the severe complications.
Reporting Alicia Barrera, KSAT 12 News.
So today, 1,000 adults and 250 children were scheduled to get vaccinated at University Health's clinic. The demand for vaccines could increase after possible approval from the CDC for kids ages 12 to 15 to go and get a booster from the Pfizer version of the vaccine. And that decision could be announced tomorrow. Of course, as soon as we find out, we'll let you know. So if you need your first COVID vaccine dose or booster shot, right there, just look at your screen, because that's the operating hours for the vaccine clinic at the Wonderland Mall. As you can see, it's open Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And here's the thing that's important. You do not need to make an appointment or even register before you go.
We have told you about the staffing shortages at restaurants, hospitals, on airlines, and now, not surprisingly, in schools. 2 of the city's largest school districts reported several hundred teachers and staff, along with students, called in sick or were absent over the past 2 days. Our Jessie DeGollado standing by live this evening to tell us how they're dealing with this recent challenge. Jessie.
Well, schools like this one in the Northeast and Northside Independent School Districts have had to learn the meaning of flexibility and how to get creative, given the challenges that they've faced since the pandemic began, like now, when there's a shortage of teachers and fewer substitutes to handle their classes.
They have to adjust schedules, whether it's a student schedule, whether it's other teachers or campus staff who are called in to cover classes. In some scenarios, it might be combining classes.
We have other people on campuses like academic deans, instructional specialists, people who are more than capable of being inside of a classroom. That's just not their current job title.
The school districts have had to resort to that and other ways to fill in the gaps. Well, like now, as both Northside and Northeast have combined reported some 2,000 teachers and staff had called in sick or absent over the last couple of days. That's in both districts total. The spokespeople are quick to point out, however, not all of them are because of COVID-19. They say some are having to care for family members who may be sick with COVID or the flu or other illnesses. The same applies to substitute teachers, who they say have been hard to come by since the pandemic began. But both Northside and Northeast tell me the situation should improve, or hopefully so, by the end of the week, when staffing won't be as critical an issue as it is now. We're live in the Northeast Independent School District. Jessie DeGollado, KSAT 12 News.
All right, thank you, Jessie. This photo is blurry, but San Antonio police and Crime Stoppers hoping that it's enough to identify this suspect who's wanted in connection with a robbery on the south side. This happened Sunday, November 14th, around 1 o'clock. at a Stop and Shop convenience store on East Formosa Street near South Flores. Police say the man allegedly threatened the store clerk that afternoon with a weapon and demanded cash, and he got away with some. Anyone with any information is urged to call Crime Stoppers at 210-224-STOP.
Meanwhile, San Antonio police are looking for 2 people in connection with a robbery that happened today, and it ended with one person being shot. So that happened around 5:30 this morning at a gas station on Fredericksburg Road. San Antonio police say that the victim was using the car wash when 2 men came up to him and demanded money. And when the victim refused, the men allegedly shot at him. The victim was about to run away and called for help, and he was taken to a nearby hospital.
Now to a grocery store delivery gone disgustingly wrong. San Antonio police say a man was caught on a Ring doorbell camera, allegedly exposing himself after dropping off food. And get this, this is the second time he's been arrested for a crime like this. 29-year-old Xavier Downs is charged with indecent exposure in connection with food delivery. Police say Downs was working for Instacart when he dropped off the groceries. According to an arrest affidavit, the Ring video shows Downs performing a sex act at the front door before then heading back to his car. San Antonio police say he was accused in a similar incident when he worked for DoorDash back in February.
So Precinct 3 now has a new commissioner. Judge Nelson Wolf tapped former appeals court judge Maria Lynn Barnard today to replace Trish DeBerry in representing the north side of the county. Now, DeBerry had to resign after she announced that she was running for county judge. Garrett Berger introduces us to the newest addition to the commissioner's court.
I, Maria Lynn Barnard.
Picked by County Judge Nelson Wolf to fill the Precinct 3 commissioner's seat, Maria Lynn Barnard promised to hit the ground running.
I look forward to learning more and taking action on the immediate needs and the priorities of Bexar County.
This is Barnard's first time on Commissioner's Court, but she used to work next door as a justice in the state's 4th Court of Appeals.
And I've been in public service, and that's something I've always loved, from school teaching, being a social worker, to being a judge, and certainly this, and to do good for my home.
Wolf says Barnard's range of experience put her ahead of the 26 other applicants.
She was just, a step above everybody.
Trish DeBerry was the lone Republican on Commissioner's Court and called her replacement a very wise choice.
She's hugely accomplished. It gratifies me that she's a female Republican, so there will be diversity on the court in gender and partisanship.
Barnard's appointment only lasts for this year. Voters will choose who fills the final 2 years of DeBerry's term in the November general election. But because of the timing of DeBerry's resignation, the local political parties will choose their nominees for that race rather than holding primaries.
If I would be asked or selected by the precinct chairs, I would be honored.
But for now, as of today, she is the Precinct 3 commissioner. And in 1 week, on January 11th, she'll be sitting up here for the first time for her first Commissioner's Court meeting. I'm Garrett Berger, KSAT 12 News.
A new year means new episodes of KSAT Explains. For the past couple of months, the Explains team has been working hard for our upcoming season, and our first new episode of this streaming show, it drops next week. During tonight's KSAT Explains live stream, we have a preview of what you can expect of season 6 of our show. Join us right after this newscast for KSAT Explains in 2022. We'll be streaming on KSAT.com and the KSAT Facebook page, all starting at 7 o'clock. All right, let's take a live look outside right now. 62 degrees out there, much warmer than this time yesterday.
Much warmer.
You know, we do have a warming trend that's taking place, but don't get too comfortable with it. Don't get too used to it. We have a big changes on the way. And I do want to point out Mountain Cedar count today. It's high with a count of about 1,130. And it's the time of year where Mountain Cedar season generally starts to peak. Mid-January is when it roughly peaks every year. So we're about right here in this graph, just about at that peak. And then by Valentine's Day, it's over with. So those of you suffering with the Mountain Cedar season, just, of course, give it another month or so and you'll be fine. We're going to talk about the temperature roller coaster in just a bit.
Let's turn to traffic now. We've got some delays out there on the road.
Samuel King now has the latest.
Good evening, Stephania and Myra. Let's taking a look here. This is literally just coming in as during the break. This is a situation at I-10 at Probant. So just wanted to show this to you. I'll take a look at here and see, put on our Twitter page exactly what's going on here. But you can see the delays. They're pretty zoomed in there. Again, this is I-10 at Probant. What I was going to show you is some delays on 35 northbound, down to 36 minutes. They were up close to 45 minutes earlier, only between Loop 410 and New Braunfels. So that gives you an idea of the delay, 22 minutes heading southbound. This is the look everywhere else. We still have some delays westbound on I-10 approaching San Antonio from Seguin. Also some delays on the northwest side. You can kind of see that situation there that we were talking about on I-10 and Probant. Here is 1604, major delays eastbound from I-10 to 281, 37 minutes right now, 14 minutes the other way. See those update as you can see them. Again, we'll keep an eye on this here, I-10 at Probant, major delays this evening in some parts of our area. Myra, Stephania.
All right, thanks, Sam. Okay, let's turn to weather now. We have been freezing to start the year, cold, a little warmer. This is going to shock nobody. We're all over the place.
Yeah, up, down, roller coaster. Weather whiplash is what we're getting.
Yes, this is more typical. I mean, December was not typical. It was the second warmest December on record in San Antonio. We have a great article with more details on that on KSAT.com. But I do want to point out today we started at 35, just above freezing. 67 was our high temperature. Obviously, there were some outlying areas that did dip below freezing earlier today. High temperature of 70 at Carrizo Springs, 73 Pleasanton. Those were some of the warmer readings, along with Cotulla at 74. Now, watch what happens in the days ahead. Temperatures, they go up and down quite a bit. We'll be mid-70s tomorrow, then down to the mid-50s to end the work week, only to get back up to 70 degrees for the upcoming weekend. So a lot of ups and downs, and we will have another freeze in the forecast. So let's get right to it. Beautiful evening out there, clear sky, nice crisp air in place. 35 this morning, as I mentioned. Then this afternoon, we were in the 60s. The average high is 63, and we're going to be above that for one day, and then the temperature falls off again. Dew point of 41, that's the key. Little extra moisture in the air now, so temperatures aren't going to fall off as much. And with this dew point temperature above freezing, it's a good indicator that our temperatures will stay above freezing tonight, and maybe some mid to upper 30s in the hill country, but I think most of us right around the 40-degree mark by tomorrow morning when you average it out. So Randolph, 63. Castroville, 64, along with Canyon Lake. Bulverde down to 59, along with Comfort, and 56 in Kerrville. It's still near 70 in Cotulla right now, just 1 degree shy of 70. Hondo, 59, and Rock Springs, 57. The colder air, it's nowhere across Texas, really. I mean, we have to get all the way up into the northern tier of the U.S., where we've got readings down in the single digits and even starting to creep in the teens below zero in Montana. The core of the cold air, of course, is up in Canada. And I was watching these temperatures earlier today, and just across the Alaskan border here into northwest Canada, Dawson Airport, 47 degrees below zero for their air temperature. And my favorite city, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, right now 11 below, in case you were wondering. I just love saying that, right? It's kind of like traffic reporter bumper to bumper is kind of fun to say. Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. I don't know what it is about it. Anyway, temperatures tomorrow morning above freezing. We'll be in the upper 30s west of I-35, low 40s elsewhere, and I think around San Antonio about 43. And same thing Thursday morning. Friday morning, prepare for a brief freeze, and I think we'll get down to 29 degrees, and then our mornings go back up again. So it's that time of year where you take your plants inside, take your plants outside, wait a few days, take your plants back inside, and do all the necessary precautions, of course, with pets as well. Your pipes will be fine, though, with these freezes. All right, here's the big picture. Some moisture and activity, Pacific Northwest, up in the Northland, Dakotas, Minnesota. That's it. No big weather feature to put a kink in the upper level flow and give us any much needed moisture. That's just not the case right now. But there are some indications that as we get toward the end of next week, we could tap into some Pacific moisture, maybe bringing us a better chance of much needed rainfall. As for this evening, clear sky, not much of a breeze. No freeze tonight. By midnight, 46 degrees. Tomorrow morning, about 43 in San Antonio. As I mentioned, cooler in outlying areas, but above freezing cooler. And then we'll make it into the mid-70s by tomorrow afternoon. Thursday, 58 degrees at noon. Then the temperature falls because of a cold front. Not only that, windy. It's going to be a gusty Thursday and then Friday morning back below freezing, only to get back to 70 degrees for this weekend with just a 20% chance of a stray shower on Saturday. And Saturday is going to be our only humid day.
Now I'm just thinking about bumper to bumper.
Bumper to bumper, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
Exactly, his favorite words.
I'm back.
All right.
Thanks, Adam.
There you go. All right, we need the Spurs to come back right. So the game is going on
right now.
Give us an update.
Yeah, well, they started off well. What's kind of unusual is, as you watch the game tonight, is there are no fans in the stands. Toronto is the only team in the NBA that is banning fans right now. They allow about 1,000. That's usually just family and friends. So it's back to that awkward playing before no cheering. You know what I mean? When we come back, we'll give you the latest update on that score. And all-star workouts for the big weekend coming up in the Alamo Dome coming up. San Antonio Spurs try to snap out of their 3-game losing streak and score their first win on the 7-game road trip when they face the Raptors in Toronto tonight. And once again, they'll be down 3 key players, including star guard DeJounte Murray, Doug McDermott, and Lonnie Walker IV, all in the NBA's health and safety protocols, with Murray revealing on Monday he's looking to make a comeback tomorrow night in Boston, that he has worked his way up to return to competition conditioning, but will still miss his 5th game tonight. Let's give you an update right now in the first quarter. Spurs off to a very good start, leading the Raptors 22-18. Highlights for you tonight on the night beat. Becky Hammon will be on the bench tonight, continuing with her duties as assistant coach for the San Antonio Spurs, despite the fact she was officially introduced as the new head coach of the Las Vegas Aces, a team that used to be the San Antonio Stars, where they were purchased and moved to Las Vegas in 2017. Becky spent 8 years with the Stars in San Antonio before retiring in 2014, where she became the first full-time female assistant coach in the history of the NBA. Now she has a chance to sit in the first chair as a head coach.
A lot did go into this decision, a lot of sleepless nights, to be quite honest. But at the end of the day, this is a tremendous opportunity. Like I said, the leadership that Mark and Nikki and the direction that they want to take the organization, and not just the organization, but also the WNBA, is something that could not be ignored. And so after grappling many nights, honestly, over it. I can tell you, Pepper, too, you know, when she first called, I had no intentions of leaving the NBA at this point, you know, and after talking to her and wrestling and throwing around different ideas and stuff, obviously I came to the conclusion that this was the best spot for me and my family, and an opportunity for me to, you know, sit in the big chair and be a head coach of a major professional sports league.
Hammond will remain with the Spurs for the rest of the season before moving to Las Vegas to take over the Aces.
Pro football coverage, powered by Davis Law Firm.
Cleveland Browns were officially eliminated from the playoffs last night when they fell to the Pittsburgh Steelers 26-14. In that game, Baker Mayfield was sacked 9 times, 4 of those coming from T.J. Watt. Now, after discussions with team officials and his agent, Mayfield has decided to skip the Browns' final game of the regular season against Cincinnati to have surgery to repair his torn labrum he's been playing with since week 2.
I've made the decision. We've had discussions that I am going to have surgery. I am going to get this shoulder fixed and, you know, be able to come back next year at 100%. So that's been decided. Now, when it's happening, that has not been decided.
Actually, it has been just a few hours ago. As we reported, Mayfield could go under the knife as early as this week. Practice continues for the San Antonio Sports All-Star Football Game presented by HEB this Saturday in the Dome. We stopped by Team Black practice at Hero Stadium first with the Johnson coaching staff together one last time before head coach Mark Soto takes over at Judson. Among those suiting up for Team Black are champion quarterback Carson Kaiser, Floresville running back Darian Murphy, and Sam Houston wide receiver Tavares Neely.
Really exciting just to know that I was selected to play in this All-Star game, and just topped off a good season on which we had at the school, a 7-3 record, and this was just icing on the cake.
Kickoff for the San Antonio Sports All-Star Football Game presented by HEB kicks off at 5 p.m. Saturday in the Dome. Tickets are still available through Ticketmasters or the Alamo Dome box office. Of course, tonight on the Night Beat, we'll have all the highlights from hopefully a Spurs win on the road.
We need it, right? 3 games. Lost. I mean, hopefully number 4 is the...
Turn it around tonight.
Yeah. All right.
Thanks, Greg. Our KSAT Q&A up next. We are dealing with yet another surge in COVID cases. It does feel uncomfortably familiar, but some things have changed.
That's right. More people are vaccinated, including kids as young as 5. Booster shots are now available, but we also know that Omicron, this variant itself, is also very different.
To talk about what you need to know about this variant and what we know about this surge so far, in our KSAT Q&A today, we are joined by local epidemiologist Charisse Rohr-Allegrini. Charisse, always a pleasure to have you here. We like to call you the disease detective because you study these things, you know how these trends work. So let's talk about the severity. I've heard people say, well, Omicron not as bad as Delta. Is it something we need to be concerned about?
Both. It's not as bad as Delta, but it's more contagious. That means you're going to have more people affected by it. And we know that the 2 doses of the vaccine are not quite good enough. So we need to get that 3rd dose in, but it is more contagious. And it's just a numbers game. The more people you have infected, the more likely that you're going to have folks that have severe disease because it's out there. Whereas before, it wasn't as contagious. So it's good news and bad news.
Okay, now we have the rapid test, the PCR test. We have those at-home testing kits. And a lot of our viewers have been asking whether the at-home kits, for instance, are sensitive enough to pick up the Omicron variant. It's something a lot of people are worried about. And you're saying that it is.
Right. The at-home kits are great. They are sensitive. They're not as sensitive as the PCR test for sure, but they are sensitive. And if they're done properly, which means you really get that Q-tip up in your nose, rub it around at least 5 times on each side, and you do it properly, there's a good chance it's going to detect if you're infectious at that moment. It's not going to detect if you've got very, very small levels of virus that haven't really become infectious yet. But it is a good indicator of if you're contagious right now.
You know, this surge does feel different than the Delta surge. I think, of course, because symptoms aren't as severe. But when you look at the positivity rate, it's over 27% in our community. That is very high. So I know, Omicron was first discovered in South Africa, but when it peaked there, cases seemed to really fall off after that. Are you expecting something similar here?
So I'm really hoping that I'm going to see the same thing, that the peak is not going to last very long and it'll drop off quickly. One thing to note about the positivity rate is you have to understand the denominator. I just looked at the number of tests where we got that 27%. So in December, we were testing between 50 and 60,000 a week. That 27% is based on less than 30,000 tests. So that's going to skew it a little bit, but we still have over 8,000 that we're testing positive. So that is very concerning. But again, because we've got a fairly good rate of vaccination, we still need to work on it, but it's not too bad. And because it's fairly mild, I suspect that we're going to see a lot of cases in the next couple of weeks and then it drop down again. At least that's what I'm hoping.
When we see this surge, I'm going to bring back one term that I know epidemiologists hate, and that is herd immunity. We stopped talking about that for the last few months, but I'm wondering how that would apply to the Omicron variant if you do have a lot of people who are testing positive and do come down with the Omicron variant.
So let me tell you, we love herd immunity when it's actual herd immunity. And that really is vaccine-induced herd immunity, which means that you have very few people in the population who are susceptible. And so with the Omicron variant, we're seeing that there's a higher rate of people that are susceptible because we only have the 2 doses of vaccine and it's just not good enough for that variant. But getting that 3rd dose of vaccine can really make a difference. And then we could actually see herd immunity, which means that we'll have very few people in the population who are susceptible, which means our cases will go down.
You know, I've heard people talking about where we are right now saying, well, this is less severe than Delta. Hopefully the next variant after Omicron will be less severe. The threat level will go down and down and down. Is that safe in thinking that this is how viruses work?
That's not how viruses evolve. They evolve randomly. It's because there's mutations every time it makes a copy, and most mutations mean nothing and they don't change the virus at all. Occasionally you get a mutation that is effective for the virus. It gives it an advantage and it survives in the population. And that, whether or not that's going to be deadly or not, we don't know because it's very random. Now, the less severe a virus is in terms of the illness it causes, the more likely it is that that virus is going to survive. survive. If it becomes deadlier, say it kills people much faster, it makes them very sick very quickly, the folks aren't going to be transmitting it. They're going to go into hospital right away. They're less likely to be out and about. They're not going to go to the grocery store coughing on folks. Whereas if you have a very mild variant, you're more likely to continue on about your daily life, and then you're more likely to transmit it. But that means it's less severe. So viral evolution is such that we can't say it's going to decrease in severity over time. It's simply not how viral evolution works.
All right, Charisse Allegrini, thank you so much for joining us today and giving us the latest information that you know about the Omicron variant, something that we're all concerned about. Thank you.
See you next time. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, everyone. With the holiday over, construction is starting back up, and that includes up here in Kendall County, the I-10 Kendall Extension Project in the Bernie area. So yesterday, a frontage road closure eastbound on I-10 between Menger Springs and Main Street, or US 87. So you'll be forced to pretty much get onto the main interstate there in that area as they continue that work. This project expected to be substantially complete later this year. Now back into town, another project, Loop 1604. This is segment 3 is underway. You can see some of the delays there. Also tonight, you might have noticed this last night as well, but ramp closures there, 1604 eastbound at 281. Again, 1604 281 beginning at 9 this evening. Still seeing no slowdowns on 1604 between I-10 and 281, 34 minutes. Very slow traffic there. But good news, Myra and Stefania, this has cleared I-10 at Proband.
All right, Sam, thank you. So let's talk about social media, right? Fun, quick little videos on there may seem like harmless fun, but more teen girls who enjoy it are showing up with what you might call a TikTok twitch. It's not exactly harmless, but a sign of Tourette syndrome, which can also cause verbal outbursts, involuntary repetitive movements, and sounds. Ursula Perry shows us why doctors are now seeing more teen girls with tics, and also she explains what parents can do.
Maybe eye blinking, maybe a sniffing or a throat clearing.
These are some of the tics associated with Tourette syndrome, a neurological condition that is 3 times more common in boys than in girls. However, medical experts have been seeing a rise in functional tic disorders in teenage girls, and they're linking the increase to the popular social media site TikTok. Doctors at UCLA typically see 1 or 2 cases linked to social media a year. That number has swelled to 10 to 15 per month. Johns Hopkins University's Tourette Center numbers have also gone up from 2 to 3% of pediatric patients a year ago to 10 to 20% now. But TikTok may not be the sole cause.
Many have comorbid diagnoses of things like PTSD or other kinds of maybe perhaps remote trauma.
According to the CDC, 5 in 6 kids with chronic tics have another mental, behavioral, or developmental disorder. Experts say parents can seek out a specialist, as well as encourage kids to do physical activities such as sports and yoga that involve their mind and body working together. Also, have your kids stay away from TikTok for several weeks. Early intervention can reduce or even eliminate the symptoms.
According to medical experts, the patients doctors are seeing right now have been diagnosed with anxiety and depression, all of which was exacerbated by the pandemic. The development of tics, we're told, if caught early and treated early, can usually be reversed. Ursula Perry, KSAT 12 News.
If you're still missing a package that you were expecting for Christmas, could be in Oklahoma. Nearly 600 Amazon packages were dumped in a rural part of the city. The Oklahoma Sheriff's Department says that some boxes had been opened, others just stolen. These were expected to arrive to people by December 25th.
The deal is that they had left the Amazon warehouse, but they never made it to USPS. As you can imagine right now, this is under investigation. So imagine being born just a different year from your twin. That is the case for 2 babies born December 31st and January 1st. You see, they were 15 minutes apart. But this isn't the only difference. These are fraternal twins. It's a baby boy and a baby girl. Baby Aylin entered the world at 5 pounds, 14 ounces, and baby Alfredo weighed 6 pounds and 1 ounce. That's pretty good for twins.
They're so sweet looking.
Yeah.
Every year, about 120,000 twins are born in the U.S., but for them to not share a birthday, that's rare. But the mother of these babies says that she is overjoyed and happy they entered this world healthy, even in 2 different years.
And they are super cute.
Yeah, they are. All right, let's talk weather now. 60 degrees out there, up and down. We keep going, Adam.
Yeah, that's the trend, and that's more of a typical trend for this time of year. Big temperature swings within a period of a few days. I mean, we experienced it over the weekend when we were near 80 on Saturday. Then by Sunday morning, we were down in the 20s. So above freezing tonight and even tomorrow night. Another cold front's going to hit us on Thursday. With it, some gusty winds on Thursday, and it's just going to create this temperature roller coaster, because not just one front, but 2 fronts in our extended forecast. So let's chat about it first, taking a look at our December weather and our December temperatures. 10.5 degrees above average, the warmest December in 132 years here in San Antonio. We've got more information on this on our website, KSAT.com, a special article devoted to it. 63 right now, dew point of 41. So the temperature at night in these situations in particular, where clear sky, not much of a breeze, and fairly dry air in place, the temperature doesn't drop past the dew point. So it's a good sign our dew point's at 41 right now. That's going to prevent us from having a freeze. Most likely lower 40s or near 40 degrees to start the day tomorrow. Right now we're in the 50s west of I-35, Rock Springs 54, Fredericksburg 53, meanwhile 62 Gonzales and Victoria, still near 70 at Cotulla, but nearby Carrizo Springs at 54 degrees. And across the state, really no big changes. El Paso 59, Amarillo 55, Houston at 64. The coldest air is right along the Canadian border. That's starting to plunge southward, and we're just going to get clipped by the cold front associated with that colder air. The core of the cold air is going to stay to the north of us. So tomorrow morning, some mid and upper 30s west of I-35. Uvalde 36, 39 Kerrville and Rock Springs, 39 in Fredericksburg, about 43 in Gonzales tomorrow morning. By the afternoon, we get well into the 70s. I mean, we're talking 77 in Hondo. New Braunfels at 73 in Cotulla, close to 80 degrees, along with Laredo. But that all changes by Thursday. Right before the front hits around noon will be 58 degrees. Temperature falls thereafter. Friday, the warmest we'll get is about 56. Then by this weekend, we're back to the 70-degree mark. Also, very briefly on Saturday, some noticeable humidity. Just one day of our foreseeable future here that you'll notice the mugginess. And I wish I had better news in terms of rain chances, but it's quiet across the state right now. Some activity Pacific Northwest, moisture coming onshore. That's been common this winter, and even across parts of the Northland, Dakotas, and Minnesota. That's it, but there are some indications that we could get a dip in the upper level flow near Los Angeles by the end of next week, middle to end, and that may enhance our rain chances then. Otherwise, we're looking at Saturday as a 20% chance, and that's it. Tomorrow, near 40 in the morning, mid-70s by the afternoon, low humidity, not much of a breeze either, just variable at about 3 to 6 miles per hour. And then we look ahead to Thursday, the wind picks up. The cold front hits around noon. We'll be 58 degrees then. We'll drop a little bit into the afternoon. 29 by Friday morning. So our next freeze is likely Friday morning, upper 20s locally, even cooler, of course, in outlying areas and especially in the hill country. By Saturday, noticeable humidity. That'll give us some morning fog and just a 20% chance of a few pop-up showers throughout the day on Saturday. Mainly gray throughout the day, near 70 degrees this weekend. And then our next cold front hits Sunday, paving the way for another temperature drop into next week.
All right, Adam, thank you.
In case you missed it, coming up next.
And a good morning to you. It is Tuesday, January 4th.
It's an empty truck, but San Antonio police investigators examining it hope it will be full of clues. They're trying to learn more about the people who shot its owner around 5:30 this morning, wounding him in his leg.
And now we have other breaking news. We know a suspected thief wound up in the hospital after he was shot by the owner of the vehicle
just minutes after that shooting. So, Patty, can you tell us what happened?
Yeah, it involved that black BMW that you see right behind me here that crashed into that light pole. A closer look. Take a look. This is video. Shows that about a half a dozen bullet holes peppered into the driver's side of that car. The San Antonio police say the owner of the car put them there as he tried to stop a suspected driver who was taking off with his car. Police say the owner ran out of the convenience store when he saw the suspect driving off, and he opened fire.
A suspect, rather 11 people behind bars, all in connection with the same crime. They're accused of running a fraud scheme and stealing $80,000 from Randolph Brooks Federal Credit Union.
Monday, Northside saw more than 1,200 staff, including teachers, call in. Today, more than 1,300 did. Both days, Northside had 60% of its substitute teacher slots filled, and about 16% of the students were absent.
Mother Nature putting on a stunning display in Aurora Borealis in Alaska.
The National Weather Service tweeting out this image saying they could see this sight from their offices. However, they told anyone who wanted to travel to see it for themselves that they needed to be careful and, yeah, dress warm.
Map looks okay, except for 1604, just east of east of I-10. See, down to 6 miles per hour there, so 37 minutes now eastbound between I-10 and 281. I just get to point there. And taking a look here at 604 at Hausman, things looking fine at.
And Sam, tomorrow morning, some mid to upper 30s west of I-35, but we're looking above freezing pretty much everywhere across our area. Lower 40s in and around San Antonio. By the afternoon, we're into the 70s. Uvalde 78. Castroville 75, Converse 73, along with Timberwood Park. Then we fall off again Thursday and Friday with another cold front.
All right, thanks, Adam. And thanks for watching the news at 6.
We'll see you on the Night Beat.